What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday afternoon so far, / early evening. This is NYG Jeffy T85 here, and I'm going to talk about a prospect that the New York Mets selected in the Rule 5 draft at pick number 27 this past offseason. And he's going to try to stop a trend that has not been going so well when it comes to Rule 5 draft picks with the New York Mets. Since 2014, all the way back when Sean Gilmartin was taken, almost 9 years ago. And that right now is the 27-year-old right-handed pitcher, formerly of the New York Yankees, and that, of course, is Zach Greene. I've spoken a little bit about Zach Greene before, and he's a 27-year-old right-handed pitcher where he checks all the boxes that you want from a Rule 5 pick. He comes from an organization with the Yankees with a track record of producing good players in the vein and a roster logjam that explains why he was left exposed. He was pretty much part of a very, very gifted and a very, very packed middle relief for the New York Yankees last year before they started dealing with a bunch of injuries. So he sort of got lost in the shuffle, and why he was exposed to the Rule 5 draft this past offseason and why the Mets decided to select him at pick number 27. His projected role is an important but non-critical one, with middle relief being a spot where teams can often stash Rule 5 selections and ride things out of a time. Finally, he had the upper minors success, posting impressive strikeout rates and solid ERAs, albeit with too many walks and home runs. He's got to work on trying to lower down his home run rate and his walk rates. He can't keep walking everybody all the time, or he's not going to get the opportunity that he's been looking for in the past at AA and AAA over the past 2 seasons. So he's obviously got to try to work on that as he goes forward. Historical criteria aside, Greene has also had this sort of analytical-friendly arsenal that comes into favor with both the Mets and a majority of the league in recent years. As you'd expect, the Yankees have taught him a sweeping slider, and he flashed a solid changeup as well. So kudos to the Yankees for helping get this guy a couple more pitches that he can use in his arsenal besides that 2-seam and 4-seam fastball. Gave him a sweeping slider and a solid changeup to work on during spring training from the New York Yankees, and now he's obviously taken that into the New York Mets. The real carrying card here, though, is his fastball, which despite middling velocity, consistently flummoxes hitters. This in large part is due to his funky delivery, which simultaneously deceives hitters into expecting a low arm slot that actually has and allows him to achieve tremendous ride on his fastball. So it's got like late breaking feel to his fastballs and late breaking velocity where it doesn't come off, like 100, 101, 102, even like a 99, 98 mile per hour fastball. Probably somewhere in like the 94 to 96 mile per hour range. But when it gets out to the end of the throw, it comes off at like an explosiveness at the end. It's the sort of vertical attack angle pitch that has allowed other fairly pedestrian fastballs to succeed in recent years. For instance, Paul Sewald, another former New York Mets middle reliever, and I expect it will translate fairly well into the major leagues. They're pretty much counting on this kid's stuff, including this fastball that he has that has late-breaking velocity on it, that it's eventually going to translate pretty well when he gets into the major leagues going forward. Now, obviously, the New York Mets have a very stacked bullpen in terms of players that are going to be taking up a lot of the roles, where they brought back Edwin Diaz on a long-term deal. They signed key relievers like Adam Ottavino and David Robertson. They obviously traded for Brooks Raley from the Tampa Bay Rays. They have Drew Smith. They have Drew Smith as well as in the bullpen. And they also have other guys like David Peterson, Joey Lucchesi, Tyler McGill, and Alicia Hernandez that can work into the bullpen, but they're really being stretched out as extra starters just in case they deal with some injuries. They also leave the combination of John Curtis, Jeff Brigham, Steven Nogoskic, Sam Coonrod, Bryce Montes de Oca, Steven Ridings, and Greene, along with usual heap of NRIs and minor league signings competing for the final 3 spots. So all those guys that I just mentioned before, Curtis, Brigham, Nogasic, Coonrod, Montes de Oca, Steven Ridings, and of course Greene are all going to be competing for at least 3 roster spots at the end. Greene has also come out and have an ERA over 10 in spring training, then finds himself pitching in the Rail Riders again by May. So it goes with the Rule 5 pick. The good news is that the Mets are not relying on this bet to hit, meaning fans get to daydream about the new relief ace, the team poached for the Yankees with no real downside. They're pretty much saying low risk, high reward with this kid. Not expecting a whole lot. Maybe he surprises us. The likely result lies somewhere in the middle. We'll have a better idea of how long Greene sticks in the organization in a few weeks' time. Taking a chance on this kid, see how he does during spring training. If he does well, he has a shot at opening it up with the major league team in a middle relief capacity. If he doesn't, you put him down in the minor leagues and you let him see if he can develop his fastball, develop the rest of his mechanics going forward. That's the intrigue when you have a player like a Zach Greene. Give him a shot. Let him see how he looks out there. If he continues to pitch poorly, then you sit him down and you have somebody else take his spot. Simple as that. But we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with Zach Greene going forward. So, in my conclusion with this whole Zach Greene situation, do I think that he has a decent chance to make it as part of the New York Mets middle relief? Yes, I do. Because he has some of that late-breaking velocity on his fastball where it's not going to blow you away like some of these other guys with 98 to 100-plus mile-per-hour speed. But at the same time, he does have that funky delivery that's been able to fool hitters at times, and he is developing a couple of other pitches that he's been working on, like a changeup and a curveball. So, I would actually think, and I'm going to take a guesstimation on this one, I think he will end up winning one of those final 3 spots and will be part of the New York Mets bullpen going into the 2023 season. Am I expecting a whole lot from Zach Greene? No. Do I think he can make contributions in the bullpen? Absolutely. But we'll have to wait and see how he does throughout the rest of spring training before we gauge on how effective and how good and promising he can be for this bullpen going forward. But you guys let me know in the comment section if you guys have seen Zach Greene for the Yankees and have watched any of his stuff with the spring training with the Mets, as well as what he's done in college previously, and if you think he could be possibly an answer in the middle relief for the New York Mets going forward, as well as hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYG Jeffy T85 for more news, updates, and chatter surrounding the New York Mets. And please hit that like button and turn on the bell for notifications on when the next video or short will be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Mets. So I thank you very much, everybody, and I really hope you all enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon / early evening. Take it easy, and let's go New York Mets. As always, all you got to do is you got to believe in those boys from Queens.